Like 2 foot wide was or strong. That's 3 foot. 37 wide. 3 foot wide. That don't look bad, but 2 foot seats probably stronger.
I've never seen it.
I've seen some stuff with people that actually don't need it. That's some of those are oversized.
Everybody, all the council members in the field, your mics are on. Speak directly into your mic.
One line. Like fishes. I'm sorry.
I thought it was in the law. Once more.
Good evening.
Amen. Please. No, you make some. Thank you.
Good evening, citizens of Lewisburg, and welcome to our August 21st meeting of the Lewisburg Town Council. And we'll begin by having our clerk call the roll.
Mayor Neal,
Here.
Councilman Dickerson,
Here.
Councilwoman Stewart, here. Councilwoman Stein,
Here.
Councilwoman Wright,
Here.
Councilman Clancy,
Here.
Councilman Russell.
Here.
And Councilwoman Wright, could you give us our invitation, please?
And we stand if you are able. Most holy, everlasting, throne God, our heavenly Father. Once again, Lord, we come to you, thank you for another day. A day that we have never seen it before and one we'll never see again. Thank you, Lord, for those that have come out and assembled here this evening to go over the business of the town. Thank you, Lord, for each and every one that's here. Bless our homes, bless their pain, Lord. Just give us the strength to go on and do what is right for the town of Lewisburg. I thank you for these blessings and the other blessings in your most precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's turn it pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 on the agenda is the adoption of our agenda. Could I get a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. After item number 12, I'd like to have a discussion on the preservation of the historic theater here in Lewisburg.
Okay, you've heard the amendment for item 12, after item 12, to have a discussion on the preservation of Lewisburg Theater. All in favor? All opposed?
No.
No. That was, amended the agenda. I was,
We do it by show of hands?
Yeah. yes, that's, all in favor? It's been on by show of hands. All opposed? I also would like to make a motion to move item 16, which is our public comment section, up to item 6, which will allow our citizens to give their public comments before the council prior to we get into our, deepness of our agenda. Can I get a second for that?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we move item 16, which is our public comment section, up to item 6 on the agenda. This will be a continuation beginning tonight and going forward from here on. Item 6 will be the top of the agenda for public comment. We are moving it up further so citizens can have the opportunity to share with us.
I have a question. Would that make, public comment then, to become item 6 and 6 would become 7? Is that?
That is correct. Any questions? More questions? All in favor, let that be shown by the show of hands. All opposed?
Mayor, I would also like to amend the agenda to, when we go into closed session, currently we're going in under real estate. I would like to add another provision, personnel 143-318-11A3 for legal, to discuss personnel also at that time, instead of just real estate.
It's been moved and, can I get a second on it? Second. Been moved and properly second that, another item be added to our closed session for discussion of personnel slash legal, thing for our closed session. However, I would like to say that this information that we're about to discuss per this motion, I feel that that issue can be discussed and should be discussed in public. However, since the motion is moved that we go into private session to do that, I just wanted to make let the record show that I believe the citizens should be aware of that issue that we are about to discuss. Closed session. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, we move the property second that we will discuss that item in closed session. Okay, going forward. Item number, will be item number 7. Proclamation for the National Healthcare Center Week. Okay, approval of the adoption of the minutes. Did I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mayor, we need to approve with the corrected, statement about Emma Ruth was not present for the meeting. So,
So noted. So noted.
I move we approve the corrected one.
We move the property second that we approve the correction of the minutes as indicated. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now, next item is proclamation for the National Health.
No.
You made the motion.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. At this time, we will entertain public comment. Any citizens that wish to have any comments that they would like to address to the board at this time? Yes, ma'am. State your name and address, please.
Lorraine Ryan, 100 Acre Drive, Lewisburg, North Carolina. I work at 109 North Church Street, which City of Lewisburg just sold, and at-home counseling services is located in there now. Not that any of you need mental health counseling, but we're available. I want to thank Keith Callahan, who I just met. I talked to him earlier, for getting the high grass cut in the abandoned, burnt out building next to us. It's bad enough that our clients have to come in and ask us all the time what's going on with this building next to us. But we have the eyesore of the tall grass, and because of the tall grass, or not because of it, we had some snakes, baby snakes, I don't know, and they came out actually on one of the hottest days of the year last week, and then went on our sidewalk, which is the entrance to our handicap section, and then fried. They didn't last very long on that concrete because, you know, you can't put your dogs on it anymore, let alone a little baby snake. So hopefully the snakes will be gone. We do still have feral cats living on the porch. And every other morning or so, I'll see the mother come around and jump up on the porch, and there's some babies up there. I don't know how much longer they'll stay there, hopefully not too long. But it would be advantageous for us to also know, I know there's a problem with the building next door, but when is the problem going to be resolved and that building going to be torn down? Also, there'll be a problem when you tear it down because it's got asbestos siding on it. So those are the only issues that I have right now because I've had, you have a question?
I'm trying in my mind, what building are you talking
It's right next to 109, it's 107, I believe. In fact, on the left, the left is Sue Anthony's building is on one side, and the other side's on the other side. So I understand it's a litigation, is all we were doing. So it's just, as I said, people are always asking us, they come into our building, what's going on? And now we don't have to worry about the snakes, hopefully, but we'll worry about the cats now. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
I am Joyce Neff, 203 John Street. Thank you. You're welcome. Councilman Russell, can we go back to the other facility now that we have Michael? We got people in the hall again. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Nell Rose Holmes of 1587 Beasley Road, Lewisburg, and I'm in North Carolina District Coordinator for Liberty First Grassroots and a co-founder of Franklin County Republican Ladies Group. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Before I begin addressing the council, I'd like to submit these two photos as evidence of biased participation at two Lewisburg Night on the Tar events. Many times in life, we experience unfairness and realize life isn't always fair. It's important to set the record straight when possible. The issue I bring to you tonight is the unfair treatment toward the Republicans and their candidates who asked to participate and were shut out from participating in the event called Lewisburg Nights on the Tar, while the Democrat Party was allowed to participate on 2 occasions. Our group asked permission to set up our booth at the event, and we were denied permission to participate both times we inquired. We were immediately informed political activities were not allowed at the event, yet the Democrats were allowed to advertise the event on Facebook, set up a booth to register voters and campaign for their candidates, as seen in the first photo. I called Andrew Smith of Parks and Rec back after the first event to inquire why the Democrats were allowed to participate and the Republicans were shut out. Andrew assured me the Democrats had been informed that they were not approved to participate. Therefore, our group would not have permission to set up at the August 18th event either. On August 18th, the Democrats participated again by registering voters inside the event parameter as indicated in the second photo. And they set up their booth to promote their candidates across Main Street within eyesight of the event. We ask for equal opportunity for our candidates and to campaign and to register voters at public events such as Friday nights on the TAR. We're not asking for special treatment, just fairness. We want an explanation as to why we were prohibited from participating and Democrats were permitted to participate twice without permission. To be fair, the rules need to allow both parties' participation since clearly one party will not follow the rules. Thank you for your time, attention, and clarification on this matter.
Thank you. The other part.
Good evening, my name is Armenta Eaton. I live at 1844 Mays Crossroads Road in Lewisburg, not in the city limits. But since Ms. Holmes made her statement, I want to make some clarifications. I was one of those persons that was in charge of the Democratic Party, and she says was registering people to vote. However, it was not the Democratic Party. I am a member and an active member of the Democratic Party and proud of it. However, the sign that we had on our table did not represent the Democratic Party. It just says register to vote. And that I was working as an individual, not representing the party. I agree with Ms. Holmes if she says that both parties should have been allowed. I agree that the Democratic Party should have been allowed to participate in the event. However, the town manager or whoever decided to move the event. And when they moved the event, that cut out some participation by stores. It also cut out participation by me as an individual who was out registering to vote. So because there was no ordinance cited to me, I went into the venue where the public event was being held and I asked people had they registered to vote. It is a public service to get people to register to vote. Just like the hospital was inside the event, they were there as a public service. But the table that Ms. Holmes is referring to was outside of the realm of the activities, it was across the street because they kept the street open instead of closing it, blocking it off like they have done. When I asked the town manager, Mr. Medlin, why the street was open, he said, we just opened it. I asked him why. He just said, well, we just kept it open with no explanation. So I just wanted to make it clear that I agree that both parties and any other party should be allowed, including the no labels party, the Green Party, any other party should be allowed to do public service. So thank you for this time, and I just want to make that clarification.
Hello, my name is Andrea Wooden. I am the business in question. I have the business Purple Dot Piercings at 119 North Main Street. I, as a private citizen and registered Democrat, decided I would love to have people who knew what they were doing outside of my business registering voters. It does not matter to me what you register to vote as, that is your personal decision. I just want you to vote. I think it's super important. You'll have to bear with me. It has been a really rough few days, but I have something prepared. In July, I had a voter registration outside of my business for the Friday Nights on the Tar event. It was run by Democrats, and several of the town council candidates were hanging around and stopped by, and we had some signs up. I invited them. Thursday night, I got a text to call Sean Medlin, the Lewisburg town administrator. When I called, he told me that I could not have any political party set up outside of my shop for any town events. He said that this is a family-friendly event with no politics. He also said that the Republicans had found out and asked why they were not invited and had been complaining that they were denied access. I have also heard since last month. I brought all this up to the person in the Democrat Party that I had been coordinating these voter registration events with. I asked for advice and I was told that it was fine, it was not a policy. I could set up a registration table, a nonpartisan voter registration table. This past Friday night, there were no signs out front of my shop that advocated any politics whatsoever, other than here's one to register to vote. Here's some links for you to find some safe activities in the community. I do have a Facebook page called the Franklin County Liberal Collective. It's not affiliated with anything. It's just a place to share information, things in the county. And if I, on my Facebook page, want to share information about a town event, I don't see how that relates back to the Democrats. I was informed there was no policy and that I am allowed to set up this nonpartisan voter registration table as long as there are no candidates for office or candidate papers visible. They also requested that I call Sean on Friday morning, so I did. His mailbox was full, so I texted him. I informed him of our plans and what I was told. It is my right to register voters. I specifically said I have gotten the okay to register voters outside of my business and that this will remain nonpartisan with no candidates or candidate information outside of my shop. I should also note that I do believe it is my right to have information inside of my shop. And that is how this event was run. He did ask me again, according to your text, you will have everything set up inside your shop. And
Jordan,
yes,
your time is up. We have
Okay.
3 minutes. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Promise this is not political. I'm Philip Stover, 307 North Main Street, Lewisburg, North Carolina. Over the last month, I have been talking to quite a few people who live and work along Main Street corridor between the college and the river. Starting with the president of the college and several business owners all along Main Street, all expressed the same concern. Traffic on Main Street is getting heavy and fast. People are ignoring the crosswalks. They're ignoring the speed limit. And it's just a matter of time before somebody gets hurt. Gary Brown, the president, says, he says, every year I just sweat over whether our kids are going to be able to get through the year. He says, I beg them to be careful, but you know how college kids are. So I have some suggestions on how to improve the situation. First, I think we need to expand the restricted speed limit up to Justice Street. That would include the college and give people a chance to slow down before they got downtown. That we need to put up signs similar to what Wake Forest has done in Southeast Strip. These are signs that go in the middle of the street that clearly say that North Carolina state law requires you to stop for pedestrians and crosswalk. I think we need increased enforcement of the speed limit. But I also don't think our current police force should be overburdened with that responsibility. So I think the town should consider hiring some unarmed auxiliary officers to just enforce the speed limit. The cost of that could be possibly offset by the fines that would be levied. And finally, I think we need to install some traffic calming devices along that corridor. I would suggest that we put one in each end, just between Justice Street and the college, and over at East River Road, between East River Road and the Depot Hill, and then ones on either side of each of the 3 crosswalks that are not at an intersection. These should be designed so they require people to slow but not stop, so they don't impede the traffic flow, but get people to slow down. With your consideration of these things, I have this written out.
Over, what was the last thing you said, installing?
Traffic calming devices, commonly known as speed bumps, but you can also use rumble strips, things that, you know, if you go over at a high speed, you're gonna jar your others. But if you go at low speed, and speed bumps can be these awful things that you have to come to a complete stop and crawl over. But they also can be low where you could go over them at 20, 25 mile an hour. But if you get up to 30, 35, 40, sometimes people do, they would give you quite a jar.
Are you talking about some that I've seen involve new developments that brick and maybe have slanted sides?
Yeah,
Jar
no,
the
no,
car,
like-
damage the car,
Right.
people with bad backs, you know, just the hits, those
Sure.
that you see that I call really speed bump.
Right. Now, I'm not gonna try to tell you what you should do. I think, I'm sure DOT has quite a few experts that could work with the town on how to design these things so they meet both needs. Any other questions?
Thank you, Don. Any other comments?
Good evening, I'm Paige Sales. I live at 106 Jefferson Drive in Lewisburg. I'm here tonight to talk about Friday nights on the tar and the consequences, the actions to not close Main Street. I understand that there could be many reasons why the decision was made. However, none of the businesses on Main Street, I mean, there are 3 of us. There are 3 businesses. It's not like we have a whole lot. Were notified of this decision. And what you may not realize is that one of the businesses was brand new. This was their chance for a lot of people to come in with their business. But people weren't going to cross the street. We were barricaded the crosswalk. That person ended up closing her shop early, whether it was because it was fruitless to be open because all the activities were inside the parking lot, or what. I don't know. I do know that for my business, we took a hit financially. Summer months are slow, and we've been very fortunate that Friday nights on the tar is there because it helps bring in people, it gets people into the shop, it helps raise our bottom line in these slow months. Summers are slow anyway, but they help. If we had known the streets were going to be plugged, we might not have purchased as many items as we usually do. We know how much we have to purchase for a usual night on the tar. It's considerate. It's helpful. I also worried about the safety for the kids. We were lucky. Cars do fly by back and forth. Kids are used to having that road open, and they're used to being free in the streets, running back and forth. And the town officers did a great job of keeping those crossways clear, but kids are kids, and they'll sneak out and go underneath if they have an opportunity. I would like you to please reconsider this. We can host many people. We can open the streets back up. We can give kids room to move. They were right next to the brewery. I know some people were having some heartburn over that because talk about family friendly. And yes, some people do consume alcohol with their children, not everybody. And the bouncy houses were the separate place. Parents could still, because of the blockade, they wanted to drink a beer, they could come over and partake. But if you didn't want to, you didn't have to have your kids over. So please reconsider. Think of the businesses, think what's going on. I know, you've heard from the Sweden, but, we all, you talk about wanting businesses to come to town. You talk about wanting to increase what's there, but you need to support what's there too. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Kelly Caraway. I live at 107 North Elm. And I was just coming here because I had just left the commissioners meeting, and the theater that's across the street when you walk out is still standing. And if people don't take this seriously, our landscape is going to change significantly. And being a commercial broker and a residential broker in Franklin County for 15 years and having lived here for 25, I think it would be a huge disparity to our area. And so I'm just making sure everybody knows that I don't think the final gauntlet has dropped on this subject, and that I think everybody needs to send a letter. 107 North.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I want to thank you for all of your comments, and we appreciate it. Okay. The next item on the agenda, the proclamation for the National Healthcare Center Week, and it's here, Ms. Amanda Coffin. What I'm going to do, Ms. Coffin, just give you the citizens some background. This is a proclamation for National Healthcare Week, and we have on behalf of the Advanced Community Healthcare located down on 111 Church Street. Community health centers serve as a beacon of strength, service, and care in their community. In moments of pain and loss, they offer support and love. In moments of triumph, they offer hope and a vision for the future. This year's National Health Center Week theme takes us on a virtual road trip across America, highlighting the achievements and the amazing work being done at the community health centers in every state and territory. Celebrate the uniqueness of our community and get to know others as we journey across the U.S. together. This is a proclamation in honor of National Healthcare Week, and this, I want to present this proclamation to you and your son for the service that you render for the citizens of Franklin County and Lewisburg. Next item, resolution of America annexation for Forest Hill subdivision. Mr. Callahan.
Mayor and Town Council, in front of you tonight, we have a request to direct our town clerk to investigate proposed annexation. To give you a little bit of background, this resolution is the first step towards the annexation process. And by this action, the process of bringing the entirety of parcel 026781 into the town corporate limits can begin. This annexation request was requested by the owner for a residential subdivision. Staff supports the annexation and is based on sound planning principles. What I would like to know is if you all would make a motion to approve this resolution.
Heard the resolution. Any questions from the council? If not, could we get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved and properly second that we, approve the resolution for directing the clerk to investigate proposed annexation, for this resolution for Park Hills resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 8, resolution requesting financing from the North Carolina Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund. Smith.
Mayor, Town Council, in front of you tonight, we have a resolution requesting financing from the North Carolina Water State Revolving Loan Fund. This request is related to undertaking replacement of rotor tubes 1 and 3 at the wastewater plant. As you will know, earlier in the year, we replaced rotor tubes 2 and 4. They had failed, and these rotor tubes are more than 30 years old, or right at 30 years old. So after the failure of the 4 rotor tubes last year, the town used ARPA funds to replace those 2 failed units. So I'm requesting tonight that we seek funding to replace them. So approximately half the cost will be funded by grant and the other half by loan. And the total project cost is estimated to be $600,000. Actually, item number 8, 9, and 10 can be covered by the 3 resolutions in the funding request. One is asset management plan, and one is an updated 10-year CIP plan, and all are required documents for us to put funding through the state. So I would need an approval of all 3 resolutions. But I would need you to read them separately.
Mr. Medlin, I have a question. What was the cost on replacing 2 and 4?
It was about 375,000 roughly.
So is 1 and 3 cheaper? How is it that we come in at 600?
Actually, we don't know what the cost will be. We've had rise of cost. And so we have overestimated the project to a point to make sure that we cover everything so we don't have to come back. And it most likely will come in probably around 4 or 5, but we want to be safe. Make sure. So we will only borrow and get grants for what we need.
So what was the life expectancy of the?
So this time we actually replaced them with stainless steel, and they should be about a 20-year life. And technically, they're about a 15-year life with galvanized steel. So we've more than doubled life right now on the 2 that are currently working. Rotor tubes 1 and 3 are about 3 years old.
Any other questions, council? Okay, we will seek approval of these resolutions via 8, 9, and 10, as you indicated. They should be done on a separate vote. Can I get a motion for the resolution requesting financing from the North Carolina Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund?
So moved.
Right.
We moved and properly second that we approve the requesting for financing from the North Carolina State Water Revolving Loan Fund. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item number. Next item, number 9, resolution adopting the town water and wastewater 10-year capital improvement plan as articulated by Mr. Medlin. Any questions? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve the resolutions adopting the town wastewater 10-year plan capital improvement. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 10, resolution adopting the updated town water wastewater asset management. Get a motion?
Second.
We moved and properly second that we approve the resolution adopting the updated county water and wastewater plan, for management and the management plan. All in favor? All opposed? Item number 11 on the agenda. Approval of a budget amendment number 1 for the fiscal year 2023 and 2024. Mr. Carter.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Before you tonight is budget amendment number 1. The purpose of this budget amendment is to budget for the roll forward of the purchase orders that remained open at the end of the last fiscal year. I've listed on your agenda report some of the major purchase orders that this includes. One thing to note is the transformers and the Green Hill electric materials and labor purchase orders will be rolled over, but are not included in this budget amendment. A portion of these will be paid out of the currently budgeted funds that were approved during the adoption of the fiscal year 2024 budget. The remainder is expected to be paid in fiscal year 2025. Other adjustments in this budget amendment include a reallocation of the building maintenance accounts for the operations center roof repair, which is a total cost of $13,000. Also included is an increase in the equipment maintenance budget for the wastewater treatment plant by $47,000. This includes a pump repair and 3 months of an emergency pump rental until a permanent pump can be put into service. They require at least 1 backup pump, so that's why we have to have a rental at the moment. This is an estimate, and the actual cost may vary depending on the length of time and the usage of the rental before they can get a permanent pump in service. And lastly, the budget amendment increases the equipment maintenance budget for the fire department by $9,800 for the HVAC repair. Their AC unit went out here a month or so ago to replace that. One other thing to note is the generator for the wastewater treatment plant is budgeted in the electric fund. And the fire department also has a rollover purchase order for a generator that was allocated to the electric fund. These will likely need to be moved to their respective departments at a later date, as these generators are for emergency backup and not related to load management. And by doing so, by moving those out of the electric fund, this will result in less fund balance needing to be appropriated in that fund. So with that, I'm going to, I kind of went through that kind of quick, but.
Any questions for Mr. Cotton? Now, could I get an motion for approval of the fiscal year 2024 budget amendment number 1?
I make a motion to approve that. Number 1.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and properly second that we approve the budget amendment for the fiscal year 2024 budget amendment number 1. All in favor? All opposed?
Thank you.
Next item is the adoption of the public record.
Mayor, Town Council, in front of you tonight is a request to approve a public records request policy. The town has not had a policy in place, and the purpose of this policy and the accompanying public records request form is to provide consistency in responses to public record requests and to provide a mechanism by which staff can track such requests. This all came about a couple of weeks ago. We had a individual that came in and asked for several things. However, they did not want to share their name and address. Now we're asking for it's pretty standard that you put your name and address and sign that you were requesting the information. So we need to adopt a policy that states that when they come in and ask for this information, we don't mind to share it. We just want to know who's getting it.
How specific do these requests have to be?
They can be I mean, they can get as detailed as they want. They have to give us detail. They can't come and say, I want all of your assets. What do you need?
I mean, do they have on a certain date or category of women?
The request we got was actually for one certain group of items. And, we particularly didn't have those items. And so we did provide somewhat of a list, of what we had that was close to related, I think, to it. But, we tried to accommodate as much as possible. But we were just asking that it be specific, and tell us who they are, and sign off on what they're asking for the information.
I know, a couple of months back, we, had a list of all the things that we were responsible to keep and things that could be let go, and I just wondered if that kind of information also, that's also about any of it on the website. But they could come to the office.
Any other questions? Now, could I get a motion to approve?
Make motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved properly second that we adopt, move for our first records with, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next item is, the new item that was introduced, we talk about the movie. Mr. Russell.
Yes, it brought to my attention that, several members of our community have expressed concern over the historic theater, located directly across the street. I received, several items of correspondence and phone calls, as to why the council has not responded. I do understand that it is county building. However, it is in our front yard, literally. And we talk about historic preservation here. We have a historic preservation committee, yet we're willing to sit by as our history gets demolished, moved, etc. And I think as a council and as a town, we need to represent the people that put us here and have a discussion on what we can do, possibly talk to our county commissioners and county manager in ways we can possibly work together to save those structures that are important to our history.
Any questions from the council?
I have a question, Mayor. Were we ever contacted by the county in any official capacity about the theater? Was Mr. Slater contacted? Was Mr. Medlin contacted? Was there any other discussion with you and the county as far as what they're doing?
Well, yeah, I had a, discussion with, county manager regarding that, and at that particular time, it was prior to their meeting, which was to be their next scheduled meeting, which is now passed, which they were expecting a report from their architects who was to give them a report on that building, the movie theater. That was on their agenda. And I've since learned since that time, the architects made the recommendation to the county for the building to be torn down. And,
But you never shared that conversation with the rest of the council as far as what you have with the county man?
no. And that was just a general conversation. And she was just informing me of their meeting, which she had put out on their public agenda. That what they would be discussing at their meeting that upcoming meeting.
Thank you. I like the comment. I've been involved in historic preservation ever since, I think it was 1977, 78, definitely since 79, when the Person Place Preservation Society was founded. I've served over in that period of time twice as president of it. I was on the council at the time, and, that we, set up a historic, commission, local historic commission, and that was.
Dr. Long, do it. Let me ask you to Mike, but when you.
Oh, okay. Oops. That better? That better?
Yeah.
Thank you. I served, was instrumental in helping, to establish along with Mr. King and a citizens committee that served, trying to organize it for the, local historic commission. And so I feel like that I can speak fairly, well from background there. There's some things that can be safe, there's some things that can't. You have to, I think you need to look into what the ramifications of things are. At the time, at one time back earlier, came up about whether to save the First Citizens Bank. That was torn down and there's another building put down. We need to, before we may jump into anything, I think we need to know what ramifications of things are for our town. We've had Ms. Sales and people talk about, the effect that not closing Main Street had on 3 businesses that are there. And we've spent, I'd say, the last 8-10 years trying to revitalize downtown. We've been very fortunate with what we've been able to do. And so, but when at one time we asked the state if we could have a local historic district in the downtown, and the state said no. The buildings had been changed too much, for it to get that kind of designation. Because I can remember saying, well, what about Williamsburg? You know, so many of those buildings were changed a lot in the late 19th century, early 20th century, and they take them back. But anyway, there has been, under when Mr. Franklin was here, he made a concerted effort to try to interest people in entrepreneurs, I guess, investors, people into buying the movie theater. I myself have, I'm very nostalgic about it. I went to it throughout my whole childhood and all through adulthood to a close. I can remember going with my dad to watch Westerns and Mother having me something. And dating, being there with your high school friends. It was wonderful. That was a different era, and we cannot go back and recapture that. Other places have tried to, and most of them have been unsuccessful because people are either stay at home, COVID didn't help anything, or they want to have many, many more choices. And but John tried to market it to these people, get them interested in it, or perhaps for a restaurant or apartments. The people that I know that looked at it, they shook their heads. It was too much, that they could not see that they could recoup the money that they had. And so those are things that I think we need to weigh seriously, because I think we need to find out what is involved if you have the downtown declared a historic district, which it is not right now. How does that tie the hands of people who might want to buy a building? Buildings are still empty, and how will that affect how they open their business or how they run the business? Because I know that there are a lot of caveats that go along with buildings and structures in the historic district. And I think we've got to look at it practically. I mean, my heart would love to see it. It would just be like being in Mayberry again. But we're not living in Mayberry anymore. And I think that we just need to consider that. And sometimes it just seems like to me that sometimes you have to take things like that into consideration. And you can say some things, but then other things you just can't really do. And I feel like, you know, these supposed to be a reputable people. After all, I think that company is the same one that we are negotiating with about Depot Hill. And so that's just some comments that I'd like to make. I think before we leap in with both feet, we need to investigate how it affects the town and how it will affect the businesses and the growth in downtown. And so those are just my thoughts that I want to show. And I don't expect everybody to agree with me, and it might sound like heresy, but you got to be pragmatic about some things, I think.
I just want to say that, I just want to say that, I just want to say that, in working with students for 32 years, I've gone down to the movie theater. We used to take the classes down there to watch movies all the time. And the last time we was going down there, one time we had to, because the marshal said it's unsafe. Do not take those kids down there. The last time I went there, and that was my children, everybody was sitting downstairs, but you got to remember, it's not peaches and cream for everybody at the movie theater, because I grew up in the area where we had to wait for the people like me to come in like us. And we had to go upstairs. And we had to wait for everybody else to be served before we could get our bag of popcorn. So, and with the movie theater that's in there a long time doing nothing. And the little boy sitting by itself. You know, some things, like she said, cannot be said. And years ago, over 15, 20 years ago, we had to stop taking the children down there because it was unsafe. I mean, Lewisburg Elementary, right down on the corner on West River Road, we would walk to the movie theater during Christmas, let them see a Christmas movie, different class every day. We kept the movie theater, and it was great. It was we really enjoyed, the students enjoyed it, because some of them had never been to a movie. But when they stopped us from coming because it was unsafe, and now it's been city, it would be cheaper to demolish, start from the groundwork up. Because, like they said, some mortar cannot be safe. Some of it's coming from.
Well,
Mayor, I have a comment to make. I think that a lot of the people in the public assume that this council has had something to do with putting this theater out for demolition, in which we read about it in the paper like everyone else. The fact of the matter is that doesn't come through. We don't own it. I personally wish that there was an opportunity, realistically, not a theater, but a lot of other towns have seen it to repurpose their theaters into new opportunities for their community. In a little town like Lewisburg, we're not a Wake Forest. We don't have oodles of opportunity of entertainment. So something like repurposing the theater could be a huge asset for our community if it was able to be saved. My largest concern is because there are two different types of historic preservation. There's the federal level, which is, I think, mostly what you're talking about, where it's very hard to attain.
Well, that's to get on the national.
And to get on the national. And then we have our own historic guidelines of territory. Perhaps what we should consider is changing what our map establishes as historical, so that tomorrow somebody could come in and buy all of Nash Street and say, I see a mall going here. And because it fits the criteria for, Mr. Slater, he's like, okay, we can't stop you.
Now, there are definite guidelines, if you look in the ordinances that pertain under the local historic commission. There are definite things that have to be met before something.
But none of our downtown is incorporated.
I know that.
Maybe that's
I know,
what we
but
need to
you got to
consider.
follow a state thing in order to have to get there. I mean, you just can't be a law until you sell by something.
No,
Callahan, is that so?
That's correct.
Is that something that we need to look into though?
That's what I'm saying, you need to ask the state what are the ramifications gonna be before we commit to saying, yes, we're gonna leap in and fight the county. I mean,
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm looking at the
County
future.
also has
No future.
a county historic commission. But I just think we need to, like, I'm agreeing with you, that we need to, seek answers before we commit to anything.
Right, I know that the county met this evening. I don't know if they discussed it any further or not. But I personally can see opportunity for our community. We're very limited anyway, especially in our downtown. Although I'm sure that the county will benefit from a justice center. Unfortunately, that's not something for everyone in the community to do. I don't know if you guys like hanging out at the Justice Center, but that's not where I want to go, for fun. So that's what I'm wondering, if we can look, maybe, our planning director and Mr. Slater can perhaps check into it and get back to us for future.
And, in addition to that, yes, I concur with all that's been said, especially seeing how if we could qualify for historical district. However, in that process, it may not be completed for this particular building here. See, because again, the architects that was hired by the county to give their opinion about that building was the same architects that we are using for Depot Hill. Now, if we ask for more information, then it seems to me that we're going against the opinion of architects that we trust enough to provide a service for us.
But these are at least in that company is real large, and that at least with the mechanical, my understanding was it was the mechanical engineers that deemed it structurally unsound. The architects were the ones that did all the drawing things. The mechanical engineers are the ones that can tell you whether that thing stands a chance of falling in. And I mean, I can well understand what the questions of liability. And if we intervene, would we become liable, or or are we going to become liable as citizens because we are county residents as well? There's a lot of questions. And it seems like that maybe they should have been, people that wanted to do this, maybe should have looked a long time ago rather than right here at the very got it.
I feel like we're in a time of growth now. If you look at previous census over the past 8 decades, we actually saw population decline, and we're now finally seeing growth through several neighborhoods coming. Maybe they just need time to find the right investors who want to invest in. I'm not suggesting this town drop $2-3 million to restore this building, but perhaps with time, someone will. And all I'm asking is we give the county time and let them know that we as citizens of Lewisburg would like to keep our theater and not see it torn down immediately.
Mayor, I have one question. Being practically the newest member of the council, do you know when you all, or when the council made a decision to enter into agreement with the county that they could have this building? Do you know when that happened?
No, the town never owned the building.
The town never owned it?
No, it was always a privately owned building in which the county purchased it from the
Okay,
private
We
owner.
own the building next to it.
okay.
Or the old
This,
building.
the small building over here. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mark, for that. So we're moving on now to the next item, the administrative report.
Mayor, Town Council, attached, you will find your July financial statements. I would like to mention two of our newest employees and introduce you to our third newest employee. As requested a couple months ago, we asked for an IT director. James Harris filled that position effective August the 7th. He came to us with probably 20 years of information technology experience, and we're super ecstatic that he is on board with us. He's done a tremendous job since he's been here. Also, we had an opening within the street department for a street department superintendent with the departure of Aaron Ryder back in June. Wesley Howard, who was the crew leader for that department, was appointed interim street department superintendent. And he was given promoted to that job about 5 weeks after he was placed in as an interim street superintendent. So I'd like to welcome those two, but also I'd like to introduce tonight Keith Callahan, our new planning and zoning administrator. And he comes to us from Vance County, so we are excited to have him on board.
Just for comfort, benefit, could you maybe tell us what types of things Mr. Harris is gonna be doing, sort of on a day-to-day basis as an IT director? I mean, if they have a question about something, how, like.
So when James came on board, James came in and assessed our system, to see where we stood, what we might need. And he has made some recommendations. He would get us up and running more with technology where we've been behind a little bit, maybe not having the latest Excel, working off Excel, Microsoft Office product, working off older versions. He's working to get us updated for that, and he's evaluated that. He's evaluated our server. He's looking at our internet service as well. He's working with the police department. They just received a grant to upgrade some of their computer equipment, and he's working with them on getting that particular piece of equipment, whether it be several pieces. We'll be working with them on that. So he's actually put on a lot of hats, and he actually just this week we have a camera system in here, and we have a new camera system as of tonight. He installed that, and we're excited about that. So he's moved forward, he's doing a lot for us.
Will he be addressing anything as far as updating some of the information on the town web page, like employee list, and I mean, things that might be of interest to the public, or?
I actually Pam handles that right now, and she will work on getting that updated.
Fine.
Mr. Bell, are any of these employees here tonight?
Keith Callahan
Yes,
is.
Callahan is here.
Okay. But no, anytime that you're available and want to meet with your employees, feel free to stop by. We'd be happy to have you talk to. Bid openings for the utilities and lift station improvements for the Lewisburg Commerce Park will be held on September the 6th. Ref grading has been completed on the southern portion of the Lewisburg Commerce Park, which was funded by Golden Leaf. And if you're not familiar with that, if you go up T Kemp Road, as you turn into Cemetery on the Hill, that entire area there has been, graded. And so we're working to get that, completed. The town staff is working with the construction management attorneys, hoping to have a revised architectural services contract to return to Oakland Collier by the first week of September, and this is related to the Depot Hill building. Monitoring visit with the Department of Commerce staff for 124 North Main was held on July the 27th, 2023. 124 North Main is the mini mart, up on the corner of Franklin and Main. Brownsville work continues. We're seeking funding for design services, and I spoke with TLC, who is handling that project for us. They're working on having the gas tanks removed. I think that's been a question, so we're working on that. We held a dedication service for the Flooring Edgerton Park on Thursday, August the 10th, 2023. I thought that was a great success. Councilwoman Betty Wright worked with Ms. Florine, and I hope that's respectfully said, Ms. Florine, that she actually Betty Wright worked with the family to get them here so that we could have a park dedication. The construction contract has been signed related to the stream and bank restoration along the TOL River through the STRAT program. So we should see some work being completed on that down here up under South Main Ridge. We should start seeing that debris being hopefully soon. We signed the contract, so we should see some work beginning pretty soon. And one last thing that's not on your administrator's report, we found out Friday afternoon that there was a group of people along Rex Place that were without power for an hour and a half. They did not call, so I would stress to you to please, if you talk to anybody, please let them know to call the after hours number, which is the Lewisburg Fire Department, and you get it. Just don't assume your neighbors called. Please call us. We're going to have 2 or 3 calls, then no calls, and then somebody be sitting without power. They're out without power for an hour and a half, and it was a 10-minute fix. So, that's it.
Mr. Medlin, I have a question. In June, when we were talking about the budget and adopting the pay policy, the pay study for the new budget year, we had discussed adopting the policies and procedures part that was brought out to us. Is there any way maybe we can put that on the agenda for next month? Just so that, well, it's still partially fresh in my mind, because I know that that was a huge docket of information. And the other thing, I was wondering if you could get with Mr. Slater regarding perhaps putting on the agenda next month a public hearing regarding having the church bells turned back on for the churches. I know that at one time there was a ordinance that silenced some of the bells in town, and a lot of people, or it was the loudspeaker, wasn't bells, they I would call it the thing like a big siren. I think that they tried to modify some things at the Methodist church, but we could have a public hearing in the upcoming. Thank you.
That will also include St. Paul Presbyterian Church as well. Next item is the mayor's report, and I want to just take a moment to try to statement my report, and I just want to take this moment to read this. Registering people to vote is a noble volunteer community service which should be encouraged and supported at every public event and in every public space by every elected official and community leader. I find it reprehensible some in this council try to prohibit voter registration at a public event in town, and I don't think the citizens will look kindly to us if we try to do this. I'm puzzled as to why anyone would want to prohibit a service that has been supported in the past. Nevertheless, I want the record to show that I support all individuals, Democrats, Republicans, nonpartisans, and any organization registering voters at any public event held in Lewisburg. And I am totally against any prohibiting of voter registration. Wow. Okay. Item number 15, policeman Farrell. Report. You want to share?
Mayor, Council. This is your August 2023 Police Department monthly report. Employee actions and recognitions for the month is number 1, there were none. Number 2 is recruiting and retention, there was no action there. Number 3 is community tip, and this kind of goes along with what Dr. Stover had already talked about earlier. With Franklin County schools are set to return to class on August 28th. The Cross Creek Charter School has already returned, they were back on August 9th. And students have been returning to Lewisburg College last week and this week. With somebody running to a close, kids headed back to school. We just wanted to put out a few reminders for our kids to be safe. We have a significant number of kids that walk to school. We ask that kids stay on the sidewalk, not walk in the streets. At Lewisburg Magnet High School, there's a section along Allen Lane where there is no sidewalk. We ask the kids to stay a safe distance out of the street before walking towards traffic. Lewisburg College students will be frequently crossing the crosswalks again at North Main Street. Asking the motorists to be mindful of this. The increased pedestrian traffic at the college, slow down, stop the crosswalk, pay attention in that area. I'm actually set to meet with the security director at Lewisburg College this week, and this is one of the topics I'll cover with him. Car crashes are the number 1 cause of death for inexperienced teen drivers. We have a number of young drivers at the high school. Our officers to be out in full force before school goes back, so we ask kids please slow down, obey the traffic laws, particularly around the school. Number 4 is complaints against police officers, and the findings, there were none. Number 5 is the use of force in vehicle pursuits. On August the 1st, officers were involved in a vehicle pursuit of a vehicle with stolen license plates. The pursuit ended on Wilder's Lane, Highway 39 South, and the suspect was taken into custody without witness. On July the 29th, officers stopped an individual for a traffic violation. It was determined that the driver was in misconduct from probation and had been for over a year. He gave the officer a false name. It was determined that he was also driving while impaired. When the responding officers confronted him, they get him out of the vehicle, questioning the arrest. An altercation ensued, which resulted in some cuts and bruises to the officer and broke the subject. On August the 13th, officers were called to home to investigate a reported fight among family members. The officers were confronted by an intoxicated and agitated individual who was assaulting other family members. The officers reported pepper spray on the individual, and he was taken into custody with no injuries to himself or the officer. Number 6 is operations and notable investigations. I'm not going to go through the whole list. That's there for your review. I'll touch on a couple of highlights. July 28th, officers responded to the emergency room here at Mariah and Franklin. 2 individuals had arrived suffering from non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. It was determined that the shooting occurred on Middle Street Road. Both subjects were uncooperative. The case is still being investigated. Had a vehicle stolen from Sheets on August the 9th. Our investigators from Wake County was charged with juvenile in the case. We had a vehicle broken into at Franklin Ocean Nursing Center. A suspect has been identified as that as well. And we had a suspicious death at the Economy Inn last month. That was closed out this month, determined to be an overdose.
Number 7 is the budget summary. We are 1 month into the new budget year, 15.24% of fiscal year 2023-2024 operating budget has been encumbered as of July 31st. This includes the majority of the capital outlay items on the budget, so that's why it's such an increase in the first month. With our grants, we're continuing to go through the Governor's Crime Commission IT project that started earlier in the year. Again, Sean has mentioned, we've kind of held off on this, anticipating an IT person to help us navigate some of these waters. And James says, hit the ground running. We appreciate the service he's provided to us. Number 8 is the department training summary. Staff has received training in the following areas: body camera implementation, juvenile justice procedures, bomb threats and squatting investigations, Leslie through pepper ball training, NIBRS, which is our report writing system, death investigation, and I attended the bi-monthly chief meeting where all the police chiefs in the county and sheriff gets together to talk about ways to continue to make our. Number 9 is community outreach and special events. Recognition of National Night Out, our officers distributed donated school supplies to kids in our community. Instead of having a hosted, centralized event this year, the officers just took this out into the community. On Friday, August the 4th, officers assisted the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Franklin County Center with the 27th Annual Franklin County Regional Horse Farm Tour event. Officers also attended the Floyd Green Nation Community Playground dedication. Again, another event well attended. And on Wednesday, August the 16th, officers attended the Franklin County Health Department Back to School event at the Human Services Building on Industrial Drive. There were 113 citations written for the month, and your other stats are next. Yes, ma'am.
You know how fond I am of what speed limit signs are. And, you know, there is one on North Main Street, I think, from the Doc Stokes house. I hadn't seen it owned lately, but is there some way to put some bells and whistles around it to more alert people to slow down? I mean, since
I'll go out and put a flashlight on.
I mean, you know, the college has all these lights that go off and things, but, you know, I don't know if we could find some more, you know. And
we have some more. That one is actually broken. We're working with the manufacturer trying to get that problem resolved with that particular one, but we also have some other that we actually got on a grant from the Government Highway Safety Program. Yes, we have those placed out.
Because when one is backing out from slanted parking at the post office, inevitably the biggest SUVs there are there at the corner or at the main parking place. And it's impossible to see somebody barreling through that stoplight at the post office.
And, you know, this is no slam to the college, it's just how it is every year. But every year, right when, particularly when school comes back, we get this influx of traffic on Main Street, you know, we see this. So again, our officers will be out for those things. And that's expected to meet that.
Texting all the time.
Well, they've been running, and that's why I was gonna piggyback on what you said the other day. I know that everybody is excited and it's fun to be at school, but they come running through that intersection, and because of that hedgerow right there at the crosswalk, you do not see them until they are on top of you. Perhaps they could consider bringing that down a little bit so that you can see the students as they're coming towards the intersection. That might help a little bit. I had several that were running across the, yeah, obviously, and that was dangerous. And the other intersection that I've had a few issues with, the people are coming screaming up Jolly Street and not even stopping at the stop sign at Main Street and just bolting across. That's happened several times in the last week or two, and I can see with school starting, that thoroughfare being even busier. So maybe I'm open for suggestions on something that we could do to maybe slow people down to that thoroughfare there. Someone's gonna get too much.
Chief, couple questions. Sure.
Start with retention.
Yes.
Looks like you're fully staffed.
Yes,
Good
sir.
job. When is your next retirement? Not yours. Staff.
We have Captain Stevens is actually eligible to retire now. Moment, conversations that I've had with him is probably going to occur in the first quarter of next year.
Let's bring him in here, let's know.
Yeah. And then after that, we have a lot of retirements coming up in 2024. It'll be a big year for.
So we need to keep on the recruiting part.
Absolutely.
Did you get your tasers in?
Yes. The tasers not yet. The plan to roll those out, after we get the body cameras out first. Roll those out, policies clarified, training done. Once that is out in the field and we've had maybe 60 days, 90 days out in the field with those to make sure all the bugs are worked out. Once that's operational, at that point, then we'll switch gears and go to the, it needs to go in that order.
And my last question, until we can find more permanent solutions, we as people all have short-term memories, and school's been out for 3 months. Can we step up patrol just a little bit through Main Street, just with kids crossing, just for the next few weeks while people get used to seeing children again walking the streets?
That actually has already started this past weekend. We had one officer actually assigned to run traffic in the downtown area where Main Street between downtown and college. Because of the number of traffic. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
That was traffic going with the charts, but that was a lot of backup.
I think the charter school got their feet underneath them about times of release as well as adding that stop light made all the difference in the world. All right. Thank you.
Okay, fire department, representative from.
Chief Lamb can be here tonight, so I'm stepping in and give an update on the fire department. My name is Ricky Johnson, I'm an engineer, Lewisburg Fire Department. Just a quick rundown of what we've done for the month of July. Members from our fire department provided coverage at Maple Springs Baptist Church for their fireworks ceremony. Also over at Lewisburg High School for Franklin County, Parks and Rec for their fireworks. Recently we did a live burn training on July the 18th. We had Epsom Fire Department and Commissioners Cross firearms assist us with that training, burning out our house. In our downtown area. Also recently, Lieutenant Womack and myself, we assisted the Franklin County Fire Marshal's Office with fire inspections in College of North America. We did both buildings there, K-Line and also 6 hours. We've also completed fire inspection of town facilities over the last 2 months with minor violations found and all the issues have been resolved. And in July, we ran a total of 36 calls for service. And I'd like to add that we also put out 27 fire lane warnings for the month of July around the town. What we got?
Volunteer firemen, or got any new or still.
The recruitment issue, not just here, but everywhere.
I thought that was all of it, that and the police, I thought we add tips for police officers. I mean, this would be our.
Correct, yeah, our volunteers, we don't have them knocking on the door. However, our junior program seems very well right now. We're at our top capacity. Unfortunately, they're all in the age of 18, but in hopes for when they're will be old enough to go on and volunteer with us.
How would a young person become a fireman? What is involved for him to become a full-fledged fireman?
As a career firefighter?
Yes.
There's a fire academy that they do in different counties or different agencies. In Lewisburg, we don't have an actual fire academy. So they would have to attend the fire academy prior to being hired with us. And upon completion of the fire academy, they can application for us if the position available. And it's generally between 16 and 18 weeks for that academy.
To be a volunteer,
Just come to our station Monday through Friday and fill out application.
they train you.
Yeah, we'll train you there.
possible, maybe like anybody thought about having a table or something at one of these Friday night on the car events or, at the Halloween thing with some information about volunteer firemen, or like Renee asked about information, somebody from the fire academy, you know, that might be something that interests the younger people.
Absolutely. I know last year I first took down here for the October, for the Halloween.
Uh-huh.
We passed out a lot of fire information about the fire department, the history of the fire department, and what we're supposed to do one day. The biggest question was always, what are y'all paying? And, you know, and it's volunteer. And unfortunately, rightfully so, they're taking away time from their families and their loved ones to come out and volunteer time to. But I mean, I think it'd be a good idea. I'm not opposed to all things.
I mean, just throw it out there, it's fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is council comments. Mr. Russell, you have anything you'd like to share with our citizens tonight?
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I like to see these larger numbers here. It's great. Without you, we don't know. We can't do anything. We don't know. So, thank you all. I hope it continues.
Councilman Clancy.
Just want to thank everyone for being here.
Councilman Wright.
Just thank everybody for coming out this evening, and as they said before, I was at the, opening of the park, the unveiling, and got one at the time, and Thursday, I will be back at the car for a board meeting.
Councilwoman Stein.
I was also able to attend the park dedication, which was wonderful. It was nice to see so many of their family members there. That made it incredibly special. The other thing I was able to do is to attend the live burn with the fire department to see how they train. It was really encouraging to me to see how many other departments came to train with our department so that they had ongoing education, which is what they need to do to stay current and safe in our community. On 9/11, September the 11th on Monday, there will be a ceremony, a 9/11 ceremony held in front of the county courthouse. So I believe it is first thing in the morning. I haven't got clarification on exactly what time, but I'm sure the county will be putting out information regarding that. And I really appreciate Mr. Medlin and staff on getting the camera so that we are live feeding. You can go to our Facebook page, you can go to our webpage and view the council meetings if you don't want to sit here in person. My girlfriend's sitting at home in her pajamas, cheering us all on. No, but it's convenient for those that aren't able to make it. So I do appreciate that happening as well. And we didn't include you in that, but I appreciate y'all coming out and sharing your information with us.
Okay, Councilwoman Stewart.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed last month. I took my grandson out west, and we live in a garden spot here, all this wonderful green. It was good to see that, but I'm sorry I missed it. I hope everyone will take away is that we share more in common with each other. We might, I think that there might be different ways of coming at things, but I want us to unite as a community and use good judgment and take into consideration all the sides to a question. And I know that this community will be the better for it. And I thank you for you coming, sharing your views, and it means a lot to hear what people have to say. Thank you.
Councilman Dixon.
I also attended the dedication there at Ms. Orientation, the park there. It was very, very nice. good to. Can you hear me now?
No, speak up.
It is. Okay. I did attend the park dedication, thoroughly enjoyed it. And, also had opportunity to go to, Kemp Road, Kemp Road, to look at the grading that had been done there. I'm glad that they can finally be working on the river. We've been talking about that for almost 2 years. So I'm glad that they're, coming to do that. And again, thank you all for coming this evening. Please be safe. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Dixon. Okay, the last item is a closed session. We'll be going into the closed session for a motion to, 143-318-11, A5 for real estate, as well as, 143-318-11 for legal. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
We move the property second that we will go into closed session. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out.